before the world wakes, before notifications begin, before responsibilities take shape. There exists a quiet window of time that belongs entirely to you. 5 in the morning is not simply a number on a clock. It is a boundary, a transition, a shift between distraction and clarity. And those who learn to step into that space often discover something powerful: control. The secret of 5 a.m. is not about waking early, just for the sake of discipline. It is about creating distance from chaos. During these early hours, your environment changes. Noise disappears. Expectations pause. Demands remain silent. And in that silence, focus becomes possible. Consider how most days begin. Urgency, messages, deadlines, conversations, decisions. Your attention fragments before intention forms. But rising earlier reverses that sequence. You begin with intention. You shape your direction before the world shapes it for you. This early hour offers mental clarity. Your mind is rested, uncluttered, more receptive. Ideas surface more easily. Reflection deepens. Planning sharpens. You are not reacting. You are preparing. And preparation is the foundation of confidence. Another element within this hour is ownership. Ownership of time. When you wake at 5, you claim moments that others surrender. Moments for learning. Moments for growth. Moments for stillness. These moments accumulate, and accumulation creates transformation. But the secret extends further. Consistency matters more than intensity. Waking once at 5 does not change identity. Returning repeatedly begins to reshape it. Habits redefine patterns. Patterns redefine outcomes. Gradually, discipline strengthens, and discipline, quietly practiced, becomes reliability. You may encounter resistance, fatigue, doubt, temptation to delay. These are natural, because growth often begins with discomfort. Yet each time you rise anyway, you reinforce intention. You demonstrate commitment to yourself, and self-trust expands. The early morning also cultivates awareness. Awareness of thought, awareness of direction, awareness of purpose. Without interruption, you hear yourself more clearly. And clarity guides better decisions. Better decisions shape stronger progress. As this journey begins, understand something essential. The secret of 5 a.m. is not hidden. It is available. But it must be experienced to be understood. Step into the quiet. Observe your focus. Notice your control, and allow this hour to become a space for intentional growth. Return your attention to the quiet of early morning. There is something different about this hour, not because the clock says 5, but because of what is missing. Distraction is missing. Noise is missing. Urgency is missing, and in their absence, something rare appears: mental space. Most people begin their day in reaction mode, responding to messages, responding to demands, responding to expectations. But those who rise at 5 begin differently. They begin intentionally. They decide the tone of their day before the world interrupts it. This small shift creates a powerful advantage. The secret of 5 a.m. is deeply connected to cognitive clarity. When you first wake, your mind has not yet been crowded by the weight of the day. Your thoughts are lighter, your focus is sharper, your awareness is more present. This is prime mental territory, and how you use it matters. Some use this hour for movement, stretching slowly, walking quietly, training the body. To support the mind, physical activation awakens energy. Energy supports focus. Focus supports productivity. Everything begins to align. Others use this time for learning, reading, studying, reflecting. Information absorbed in early hours often settles deeper because the mind is not competing. With constant stimulation, it is receptive, and receptive minds retain more. There is also power in simple stillness, sitting quietly, breathing steadily, observing thoughts without rushing them away. In stillness, patterns become visible, concerns become clearer, priorities reorganize, perspective expands. You begin to think instead of react. Consistency, however, remains the true secret. Anyone can wake early, once. Transformation begins when early rising becomes rhythm. Day after day, week after week, your internal clock adjusts, your discipline strengthens, your identity shifts. You are no longer trying to wake early. You are someone who does. There will be difficult mornings, mornings when comfort feels persuasive, when the bed feels warmer, when motivation feels distant. These moments matter most because discipline is not proven when something is easy. It is proven when resistance appears. Each time you rise anyway, you strengthen self-trust. Another quiet benefit emerges. Through early rising, time expands. Not literally, but perceptually. You feel less rushed, less reactive, less compressed by deadlines, because preparation creates breathing room, and breathing room reduces stress. As this second reflection settles, carry this awareness forward. 5 in the morning is not magic, but what you do in that hour can quietly reshape how your entire day unfolds. Protect the morning, use it intentionally, and allow the discipline you build at dawn to echo through every hour that follows. Take another slow breath. Notice how different the early morning feels when you are fully present within it, because the true advantage of 5 a.m. is not only the quiet surroundings, it is uninterrupted ownership of your attention. During most hours of the day, your focus is pulled in many directions. Notifications appear, conversations begin, responsibilities demand response. But at 5 in the morning, attention becomes yours again. And where attention goes, progress follows. One of the most powerful shifts that happens during early rising is the transition from reactive living to proactive living. Reactive living waits. It waits for problems, waits for deadlines, waits for pressure to build. Proactive living prepares. It anticipates. It organizes. It strengthens before challenges appear. The 5 a.m. habit quietly trains this mindset. There is also a neurological advantage to early focused work. When the brain is rested, decision fatigue is low, mental energy is higher, willpower reserves are stronger, distractions have not yet accumulated. This creates a window of unusually high-quality focus. Many people work long hours, but few work during their highest quality hours. That difference matters. The early morning also builds emotional stability. Beginning your day with intentional action creates psychological momentum. You have already kept a promise to yourself. You have already acted with discipline. You have already moved forward before most people begin. This creates quiet confidence. And quiet confidence changes how you move through the rest of the day. Stay with that awareness for a moment, because once the habit of rising early begins to stabilize, something deeper starts to change. It is no longer just about waking up. It becomes about who you are becoming because of it. Identity begins to shift quietly. At first, waking at 5 feels like effort. You negotiate with the alarm. You question the decision. You rely heavily on discipline. But over time, repetition reduces resistance. The body adapts. The mind accepts. The routine settles. Eventually, what once required force begins to feel natural. This is the turning point. When a habit becomes natural, it stops consuming as much willpower. You no longer debate the action. You simply perform it. This frees mental energy for more meaningful work. And energy, when properly directed, creates acceleration. There is also a powerful emotional shift that accompanies consistent early rising. You begin each day with a small but meaningful victory. You kept your promise. You acted with intention. You chose growth over comfort. These small victories accumulate, and accumulated wins reshape self-perception. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who plans, but as someone who executes. Another subtle transformation appears in your relationship with time. When you wake late, the day often feels rushed. You react quickly. You move hurriedly. You feel slightly behind. But early rising creates breathing room. You move with more control. You think with more clarity. You act with more precision, because preparation reduces pressure. There is also an important discipline hidden inside the 5 a.m. habit. It teaches delayed comfort. Each morning you rise early, you choose long-term growth over immediate ease. This single pattern strengthens self-control far beyond the morning itself. Because the brain learns through repetition. And repeated self-control builds stronger decision pathways. However, it is important to approach this habit with intelligence, not extremes. Waking early while sacrificing sleep creates exhaustion, not excellence. The goal is not less rest. The goal is better structure. Protect your sleep window, respect recovery, create a consistent night routine. Sustainable discipline always outperforms forced intensity. You may also notice an increase in mental quiet. Early mornings carry a different psychological atmosphere. Thoughts feel less crowded. Focus feels more available. Intentions feel clearer. This is not accidental. It is the natural result of reduced external noise. Use this wisely. As your mornings strengthen, consider assigning purpose to this protected hour. Do not drift through it randomly. Choose deliberately. Learning, planning, deep work, reflection, purpose multiplies the value of early time. As this section settles, remember, the secret of 5 a.m. is not proven in a single morning. It is revealed through quiet consistency over time. Protect the habit. Respect the rhythm. Trust the gradual shift. Because the person who rises with intention day after day is quietly building an uncommon advantage. Take a moment and observe how far this simple habit can reach. Because the discipline of waking at 5 rarely stays limited to the morning alone. It begins to influence how you approach the entire day and eventually how you approach your life. One of the most noticeable changes is increased intentional living. When your day begins early and calmly, you are less likely to drift through it unconsciously. You start to plan more clearly. You start to prioritize more carefully. You start to notice where your time actually goes. Awareness increases, and awareness is the beginning of control. Many people believe that success requires dramatic action, but more often it is built on quiet consistency. The 5 a.m. habit is a perfect example of this principle. It is not loud, it is not flashy, it is not instantly visible. Yet over weeks and months, its effects compound. Energy improves, focus sharpens, confidence grows. Small daily discipline creates large, long-term shifts. There is also a psychological advantage that develops through early rising. You begin to trust yourself more. Each morning you follow through, you reinforce a simple message internally. I do what I say I will do. This self-trust is powerful, because once you trust your own actions, hesitation begins to fade, and reduced hesitation accelerates progress. Another important benefit is the reduction of decision chaos. When mornings are rushed, decisions become reactive. You choose quickly. You prioritize poorly. You operate under pressure. But calm mornings create structured thinking. You decide with clarity. You plan with intention. You move with direction. Structure reduces stress. You may also notice a shift in your emotional baseline. Early rising often brings a quieter start to the day, less rushing, less immediate pressure, less mental noise. This calmer beginning often carries forward into later hours. Your reactions soften, your patience improves, your focus stabilizes, because the tone of the morning often shapes the tone of the day. However, the real power of the 5 a.m. habit appears over longer periods of time. Not days, not even weeks, but months of quiet consistency. This is where compounding becomes visible, skills improve, output increases, confidence deepens, discipline strengthens. Slow progress, sustained long enough, becomes undeniable progress. There will still be imperfect mornings. Moments of fatigue, moments of resistance, moments when the routine feels heavy. This is normal. Perfection is not required. Consistency is. Missing once does not break the habit. Quitting does. Return the next morning. Reset the rhythm. Continue the pattern. Momentum rebuilds faster than most people expect. As this reflection settles, hold on to this understanding. The secret of 5 a.m. is not about waking early to impress anyone. It is about creating a private advantage, an hour of clarity, an hour of focus, an hour of intentional progress. Used wisely, this single hour can quietly transform the direction of your days. Protect it, respect it, and continue showing up when the morning is still quiet. Take another steady breath and notice the pattern that is forming, because by now you may realize something important. The power of 5 a.m. was never only about the morning. It is about the discipline that the morning quietly builds. Every time you rise early, you are practicing self-leadership. No one is forcing you. No one is watching you. No one is rewarding you immediately. Yet you rise anyway. This is where real discipline lives, not in public effort, but in private consistency. Over time, this private consistency begins to strengthen your identity. You start trusting your routines. You start respecting your own standards. You start expecting more from yourself. And expectations, when raised internally, change behavior automatically. Because you begin to act in alignment with the person you believe you are becoming. There is also a quiet mental toughness that develops through early mornings. When you repeatedly choose structure over comfort, your tolerance for discomfort improves. Difficult tasks feel more manageable. Focused work feels more natural. Discipline feels less forced. This is the hidden training within the 5 a.m. habit. But remember something essential. The goal is not perfection. Some mornings will feel heavy. Some days will feel slower. Some weeks may disrupt your rhythm. This does not erase progress. What matters most is your ability to return, to reset, to realign, to begin again the next morning. Consistency is not built by never missing. It is built by never quitting. Another shift begins to appear as this habit matures. Your mornings become calmer, but your days become sharper. Because starting slowly often allows you to move faster later. You think more clearly, you prioritize more effectively, you waste less energy on distraction. This is the compounding clarity of intentional mornings. You may also notice that your relationship with time begins to change. Instead of feeling behind, you feel prepared. Instead of reacting constantly, you begin anticipating. Instead of rushing through tasks, you begin executing them with more control. Preparation creates confidence, and confidence reduces unnecessary stress. As this section comes to rest, carry forward this understanding. The secret of 5 a.m. is not hidden in the clock. It is hidden in the consistency you bring to the hour. Show up repeatedly. Protect the routine. Trust the slow transformation that is already taking place. Because quiet discipline, practiced long enough, always begins to show invisible results. Before this journey comes to a close, take one more slow, steady breath and reflect for a moment on what the early morning has been quietly teaching you. Because the secret of 5 a.m. was never simply about waking early. It was about awareness, about intention, about becoming someone who leads the day instead of chasing it. There will always be people who doubt the value of small habits, who underestimate quiet discipline, who look for fast results instead of lasting change. But the power of early rising has never been in dramatic moments. It lives in repetition, in showing up when it would be easier not to, in choosing structure when comfort is calling, in protecting time that most people surrender. As you continue forward, remember this clearly. You do not need to wake at 5 to impress anyone. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to prove it publicly. This habit works best when it remains personal. Private discipline creates public results. There may still be mornings when the alarm feels heavy, when motivation feels distant, when comfort feels persuasive. In those moments, do not look for perfection. Look for commitment. Stand up anyway. Because each time you do, you reinforce something powerful. You are becoming reliable to yourself. And self-reliability is one of the rarest forms of confidence. Over the coming weeks and months, the changes may feel subtle at first. A little more clarity, a little more calm, a little more control. But do not underestimate small, consistent shifts, because compounded discipline always becomes visible with time. Energy improves, focus strengthens, decisions sharpen, momentum builds, quietly, steadily, powerfully. If you choose to continue this path, approach it with balance, protect your sleep, respect your recovery, build a rhythm that you can sustain. Because sustainable discipline always outperforms short bursts of intensity. The goal is not to wake early once. The goal is to build a life that moves with intention. As this final reflection settles, carry forward this simple truth. The morning does not change your life in a single day, but how you repeatedly begin your days quietly shapes who you become. So rise with purpose, move with clarity, work with focus, and allow the quiet hour of 5 a.m. to remain your private advantage, because those who master their mornings often find they have quietly mastered much more than that. Take one final breath, slow, steady, intentional. And when tomorrow morning arrives, step into it with awareness. Your time is waiting,